Welcome to another episode of the Untold Stories. Remember, if you are listening to the right stories, then you are listening to the Untold Stories. This episode is a continuation of the last episode, Adversity Won't Let You Die a Virgin. I hope that after listening to the last episode, you understood that no matter how far you try to run away from your adversity, it still won't let you die a virgin. So the question that arises is, shall we break up with adversity? Today in this episode, we will try to find the answer to this and we will try to understand what we and our adversities are made of. So before we proceed further, I want to ask a few questions to you and you need to answer them honestly. When you take a lemon and squeeze the lemon, what juice will come out of it? Lemon juice. When you squeeze an orange, what juice will come out of it? Orange juice. Now let me ask a difficult question. When you squeeze a mango, what juice will come out of it? Mango juice. Coconut milk will not come out of mango. When life squeezes you, what you are made of, only that will come out. What is within you, that only will come out. Your response to anything that happens in life will depend on what you have and who you are. When I say what you have, it is not materialistic, it is also about you. If you are made up of resilience, grit, determination, never give up attitude, never say die, whatever happens I will succeed in life. Even if life forces you through a failure in life, only that grit and determination will come to the surface and you will be victorious. But instead, if you are made up of inferiority complex, then even if life gives you an outstanding success, you will not know how to enjoy it because your own complex will make you feel, I don't think I deserve it. Therein lies the question that all of us need to answer. What are you made of? Adversity brings out the best in us as nothing else will or can. It brings strength to our character. When one challenges adversity in any form, the only true enemy is within oneself. The first step is to overcome fears and frustration, leave behind the despair and disappointment, and focus only on putting one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. It is like coming out of a snowstorm. As the saying goes, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. You need to outlast the condition causing the adversity. Everything is temporary. All adverse situations come with a time limit. Inevitably, they need to end. The key is to survive it first. Survival has two aspects. Never give up, never give in. Giving up is an external factor. Never giving up means not stopping. Never giving up is about you dealing with your ambitions, desire, hopes and aspirations. It's about your relationship with the world. When you are coaching a team, you never stop pulling and prodding them to get into the shape. Giving up and giving in work in tandem. Even when your senses tells you that someone cannot make it through something, do not give up. The objective is to never give up on others by never giving in to yourself. Never giving in is about overcoming your internal enemies. Doubts, fears, suspicion, anger, hatred, jealousy, greed are all components of this internal enemy. The minute you allow them to have a grip on you, however negligible it may be, you are lost. We are enslaved by our fears and defined by them. Sadly, fear is generally fueled by ego-driven ignorance. We need to define and own our own fears or they will own us. Define your fear and create your destiny. The act of giving in is addictive. When an alcoholic comes upon a bottle of alcohol, what he needs to fear is not the alcohol but the weakness of his own will. Once you are ruled by adversity, everyone around you seems to be conspiring against you, talking about you and intending to stab you in the back. You see betrayal at every turn. Trust becomes almost impossible. The ego prevails in this situation. Not only does it prevail, it succeeds. When the ego succeeds, which happens quite often in life, it takes over the kingdom, which is basically your mind and your action. The worst symptom of the emergence of adversity within is anger. Anger, when suppressed or repressed, leads to frustration, despair, mockery and cynicism. Anger is never straightforward. It is symptomatic of many unresolved and represent issues in life that needs to be dealt with. If you are not at peace with yourself, you are losing. Anger cannot be managed. Managing anger is like trying to tie down a rabid dog. At some point the leash breaks and all hell breaks loose. Anger can only be dissipated or dissolved. remove the platform and the bedrock upon which it stands, and it falls. Adversity comes in all forms. Dealing with adversity requires a certain mindset which is not hard to understand, and once understood, it can help us grow through our adversity. Every person you encounter is the right one. This means no one comes into your life by chance. Everyone who is around us, or every person with whom we interact, has a defined purpose, whether to teach something or to help us cope with the current situation. Whatever happens is the only thing that could have happened. Nothing, absolutely nothing of which we experience could have been any other way, not even in the least important detail. There is no, if only I had done that differently, then it would have been different. No, what happens is the only thing that could have taken place and must have taken place for us to learn our lesson in order to move forward. Every single situation in life we encounter is absolutely perfect, even when it defies our understanding and ego. Every moment in which something begins is a right moment. Everything begins at exactly the right moment, neither earlier or later. When we are ready for that something new in our life, it will be there, ready to begin. What is over is over. It is that simple. When something in our life ends, it helps our evolution. This is why, enriched by each recent past experience, it is better to let go of the past and move on. Nothing is permanent. This is the universal truth. Nothing in our life is eternal. Everything will change, something earlier, something later, but change is inevitable. Once this is understood and accepted, life becomes simpler because there is no more stress of anticipation, no more expectation, no more surprises, and no more sorrows. It is no coincidence that you are listening to this. If these words strike a chord, it is because you need them at this time. Understand, not a blade of grass moves in the air without his will. Understand that not one single snowflake falls accidentally in the wrong place, nor are two snowflakes the same. Your adversity is tailor-made for you as you need it. The hardest thing for many people to recognize is that adversity is part of success. It is not something to run away from. Adversity is the force that moves you forward. It is a function of success. Recognize the fact that you are not in command of your environment. It does not matter whether you are a believer in God or not. You cannot control your environment, and you need to come to terms with that. You can control your reaction to it. The finest lesson adversity can teach you is to be free of the ego. I would like to wrap up this episode with the famous poem The Man Who Thinks He Can by Walter de Wintel. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win but think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you will lose, you have lost. For out in the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You have got to think high to rise. You have got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battle don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late the man who wins is the one who thinks he can. The one lesson which I can understand from this poem is that everything happens twice, first in our mind and then in reality. As beautifully said by Henry Ford, if you think you can or you think you can't, either way you are right. Remember, if you are listening to the right stories, then you are listening to the Untold Stories. And if this episode has matched your wavelength, then share it with people who need it. And just in case you have the time, then you must listen to my other episode, A Complete Makeover, where I talked about the ego and an important practice called Empty Your Cup. That's all from this episode. Remember friends, you too have untold stories to tell which can make a difference in someone's life, because certain untold stories are born out of certain lives and certain lives are born out of certain untold stories.